What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to episode 222 of the ARC Junkies Podcast. Today I'm chatting with Tim Settle, owner and operator of Radical Ops TIG Rigs. We talk about his career and the type of work that he does with Specialty Welding and Turnarounds, also known as SWAT, and his TIG rigs. We'll get right into it right after a quick word from the supporters of the show. Today's episode of the ARC Junkies Podcast is brought to you by Rockmount Research and Alloy. Rockmount's team knows what it's like to fix something the right way. They also know when something isn't fixed correctly, it's not fixed at all. Rockmount's complete assortment of welding alloys are specifically designed for maintenance applications, and their network of sales reps are technically trained to find the right product for your needs. Using Rockmount, you're going to make the highest quality welds, saving you time, money, and aggravation. We all know downtime is expensive and your time is limited. As a matter of fact, downtime and rework cost 300% more than it does to do it right the first time. That's where Rockmount comes in. They don't believe in short-term solutions. Instead, they partner with you to weld stronger so your equipment can last longer. Check out Rockmount's website to tackle your biggest welding challenges and get the most common repair done right, once and for all. They have rod and wire for every application or repair for construction equipment, farming equipment, cast alloys, unidentifiable alloys, hard facing, and more. Head on over to rockmountwelding.com today and see what solutions they have for your biggest welding problem. Get the job done right the first time, every time with Rockmount. We're also brought to you by Lincoln Electric, the welding experts. Have you seen the new 330 MPX engine drive welding machine? This thing is awesome. The Ranger 330 MPX EFI welder generator is built for all seasons. The advanced electronic fuel injection delivers quick starts, improved fuel efficiency, and optimal performance in high altitude applications and extreme temperatures. In addition to the engine, the modern design and advanced features allow this machine to streamline welding operations and improve efficiency on the job site. It's smaller. The Ranger 330 MPX EFI welder generator has up to 20% smaller footprint and is up to 25% lighter than other machines in its class. It transports to the field at less bulk and less effort, leaving you more room for other tools and accessories you need for the job site. It's smarter. The 330 MPX EFI welder generator's digital user interface offers a suite of advanced technologies that improve weld performance and productivity. It has quick setup with Ready Set Weld, ArcFX technology, Crosslink technology, and chopper technology. It has high quality operations with clean AC generator up to 10 kilowatts of continuous power. Plenty of power at 330 amps at 28 volts for 100% duty cycle when welding up to quarter-inch 7018 electrodes. It has a direct connect for the Magnum Pro 250 LX GT spool gun and arc gouging capabilities up to 3/16 carbon electrodes. Get your 330 MPX today for 10% off when you go to store.lincolnelectric.com and use ARC Junkies 10 at checkout. You can also get 20% off all gear and accessories when you use ARC Junkies 20. Lincoln Electric, the welding experts. We're also brought to you by Fronius USA. Fronius is the innovation leader in arc welding. Their attention to arc precision and energy management has created some of the best arc welders and welding processes on the market. From cold metal transfer to the first battery-powered welder, Fronius continues to push the limits of welding technology. This year, Fronius is releasing the new multi-process iWave. This machine offers full MIG, MAG, TIG, and stick capabilities, allowing users to experience maximum flexibility and upgradability. Fronius, now a global company, started as a family-owned business over 75 years ago. This year marks the 20th anniversary for Fronius USA. Celebrations and giveaways are going to be announced. Watch the Fronius USA Facebook and Instagram pages for your chance to participate. Fronius USA is excited to share its new promotion with ARC Junkies listeners. Starting April 15th through June 30th, you can order a Transsteel 2200 Compact and get a second MIG torch setup. It's a $500 value, absolutely free. The Transsteel 2200 is a compact 3-in-1 solution for MIG, MAG, TIG, and stick welding. The 2200 is easy to use, reliable, and has the intelligent Fronius arc. Set up your free torch for a quick changeover or keep it as a spare. The choice is yours. This promotion is only valid in the USA. All right, you know what time it is. Fire up your machine, drop your hood, and turn me up 5.
You're listening to the ARC Junkies Podcast, helping you make every weld better than your last with each episode. And now your host, Jason Becker.
All right, Tim, welcome to the ARC Junkies Podcast.
Hey, how you doing?
Not too bad. Why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself to the Arc Junkies listeners?
Oh, man. Well, let me tell you. Name's Tim Settle. Been welding about 10 years. Right at 5 of them was SWAT, double time welding. But I started out as a 22, 23-year-old welder, young in the industry and hungry to learn. And it just blossomed from there. And I broke out with S&B, new construction, and started moving up as far as I could. And I ended up with SWAT, and I've just been there since. Started on a turnaround in 2016 with them, and just been with them ever since.
Okay.
I've had little spats where I go be a G40 somewhere for about 3 months and drag up and come back. But for the most part, been with SWAT.
Okay. Now, where'd you originally learn how to weld?
Well, originally S&B had a welding school, and one of the guys that I fit for at the time, he said, "Hey man, you need to get in that class." I said, "All right." So we pulled some strings and some favors and pissed some people off, and I ended up in the class. And I guess it was probably 2 months later, I was taking my first pipe welding test, and I ain't stopped since. So.
What kind of training do they cover in the S&B pipe course?
Pretty much what I've learned in their course is how to pass a weld test. I went in there every day after work. It was free to me after work, and I would weld in 6G. They had some pre-beveled 6-inch, and I'd weld. They'd look at it. All right, get another one. And I tell these young guys, I never capped a single piece of pipe until my first weld test, and I flushed it out, and I said, "Oh, damn, I got to cap this thing," and I ain't never done it, but I could put a good bead in. Mm-hmm. So I made it through that part of the test, and then the cap, that just came with time. And I laugh about it now because I was dying trying to get a cap on my first piece of pipe on a weld test.
Right. That's what I tell like all the students to go through my program and everything. Once they start practicing to take the test to cert out, they get the root and they're like, "Oh man, great. I finally got the root pass. Okay, now we got to start working on the cap." And they're like, "Oh, that's easy. If I can pass the root, I can pass the cap." And I was like, "Well, the root's the hard part. And then, the inner passes and everything, that's kind of the easy part. Cause it's like, it's kind of like bowling, like granny bowling. You got like the little uprights on either side of the lane. You really can't screw that up because you just keep it in between the lines and lay something in there pretty decent. You'll do all right. But now the cap, you don't have that anymore. Don't throw a gutter ball when you're putting that cap pass in.
Yeah, no doubt. No doubt.
They don't put enough, I don't know. They kind of realize it after they go to put their first cap on there and they shit the bed and they got, excessive weld reinforcement or they're too low or got, severe undercut. Well, now those training wheels are off now.
It's game on, buddy.
Yeah.
I had a crash course in it, to be honest with you. I don't know how I made it through my first weld test, but I did. And then I got with a good group of guys with S&B. My buddy John Hall, he's the one that pushed me into welding, and he didn't cut me loose on my own until he felt like I was good enough to. He said, "All right, man, if you want to drag up and go weld somewhere else, it's on you now." And I did, and I ran with it. And I was a real cocky young welder, real cocky. I'd drag up for 50 cents. You know what I mean? They paying 50 cents more down the road. I'm out. And by the grace of God, I was blessed with a skill to be able to weld like I do, but. Man, and I was also blessed that it never backfired on me too bad as far as messing up on the job. Mm-hmm. I've been fired more from my mouth than my welding.
That'll get you.
And I've chilled out a whole lot. I've calmed down, and this is as long as I've stayed with the company, and I'm going to stay as long as I can.
Now, did you find that, jumping from one company to the next for 50 cents or $1 more, like coming back to bite you in the ass later on down the road?
Oh, no doubt. It never paid off. Never. I'd be just as broke on that job as I was on the other one.
The devil you know is better than the devil you don't know?
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Yeah, and then like I said, I was real cocky, and people didn't want to hire me. And man, it took a while to get my name where I was considered a good welder again. You know what I mean? And we'll hire him, give him a shot. And now we're at where we're at. Mm-hmm.
I think that's part of the trade. Like, once you start throwing down some good looking welds and everything and you get that confidence built up, I think cockiness is like, it's the next step. It's right behind it. Everybody's got it. Everybody goes through it. You know, I'm God's gift to welding. I'm a golden arm. You roll in there. I can't do no wrong. I wake up in the morning. I piss excellence. You know, that whole spiel. And, you know, then you get humbled one day.
Oh, yeah, no doubt. Humbled big time. And it's always when you least expect it. Bam, out of nowhere.
What do you mean I'm getting laid off? I'm the best welder you got out here.
No doubt, yes. And then you can't find a job because nobody wants to deal with you. Mm-hmm. And I've been blessed that, man, for the last at least 8 years, I've been rolling strong. I mean, I caught it early on, I guess, the cockiness. And I could tell, like, man, these people don't even like me. I didn't like that at all, you know. Mm-hmm. And then, you know, I had a family, I had kids to feed. I got to start acting right. I mean, like I said, thank God I cleaned it up.
Yeah. So now tell me a little bit about SWAT for those that don't know. Like, and the only thing I know about SWAT is it's like a I don't even know what the hell the acronym stands for with the welding part, but it's like a specialty welding, I'm guessing.
Specialty Welding and Turnarounds is what SWAT stands for.
Okay. And it's like a small like group of like really badass welders that go in there and bail people out of a jam or get them out of a tight spot, right? From what I understand.
Yeah, I mean, in the beginning it was like that. It was a smaller company, and you had to know somebody to get in. And there was no helpers. It was just pipe fitters, welders, and everybody done everything. Unless you were a welder, you welded. But they paid us double time, I'm assuming, because we would climb in the rack as a welder and be pulling pipe around, rigging it up, you know, doing everything that needed to happen and being a pipe fitter helper until it was time to weld. And we banged it out. We were getting it all day long. And we started moving more towards into being – like the job I'm on right now is a 510, like a capital maintenance type project. Well, it's more of we're not jumping all over the country anymore. We're in this spot that we're in now. Unless you want to go back on the road and chase turnarounds, which they still do that also. But I like coming home every evening now. I done got burnt out on the road. But yeah, it is the best of the best since I've been with SWAT. I learned so much being with these guys with SWAT. And, there's a lot of guys I owe a lot to for what they've taught me and helped me get to where I'm at. And, but man, it used to be a lot different, but we've gotten a lot bigger as a company. So they hire a lot more people. They actually have a Boilermaker side now. And they've expanded SWAT a lot since I've been with them. And, but they're still a great company. They pay us double time. That's what everybody's all pumped up about. But I mean, you got to work for it.
Yeah, I mean, double time's good money.
Yeah, it's good money, but man, you dog tired at the end of the day when you get on a turnaround. Mm-hmm. But like right now, I mean, like you said, bailing people out. I mean, it sounds cocky to say it, but yes, I've went in on jobs and bailed out other companies that have messed up stuff or their welders couldn't get it. And our project manager says, our guys can get it. We roll in there and do it. We roll out. And, it's just always been like that. And the turnaround group's real good, bunch of good guys too. I mean, they're from California to Texas, all the way to the other coast. We're all over the country, SWAT guys. And yeah, like you said, they're jam up welders. Some of the best welders I've ever seen in my life work with SWAT.
Mm-hmm. Now, because they pay you double time, do you get like time and a half after 40?
No, I get double time after 40.
Okay.
So it'll be double your hourly rate after 40 hours.
Oh, damn. So that's quadruple time after 40.
No, it'd just be double. Like if say for instance, they're paying $40 an hour. After 40 hours, you go into double time, which is your overtime. And then like on Fridays, we'll make $80 an hour on Friday or Saturday, whenever you work. So anything after 40, you'll be making double your hourly rate.
Okay.
Everybody's just juiced up about that, but that tax season sucks.
I bet. Start putting money away. No, because that was that was one of the benefits, because I did structural steel iron work with the union. That was one of the benefits we had, is anything after 8 hours in a day was time and a half. So, I mean, even if you only worked 3 days that week, but it was 3 12s, you're still getting overtime for anything after an 8-hour day. And then Saturdays were typically, time and a half, regardless of whether you got your 40 in or not. So if you came in on that job halfway through the week, Saturdays is time and a half, regardless if you got 40. And then certain contracts, Sundays were double time. And then all of your holidays were obviously double time.
Oh, yeah. See, And it's like that at other plants, but it's specifically Marathon where we're at, our contract is only overtime after 40. And other plants we'll go to, it's in the contract that after 8 is our automatic overtime. Like you said, you'll work 3 days, but still acquire overtime on your check. So, I mean, I've worked jobs like that also. I've been to other companies that do that, but it's just pretty much Marathon where we're at. They have it in the contract after 40 for overtime.
I got you. So what type of alloys you welding on?
Oh man. A lot of stainless, 316, 308, Inconel, a lot of chrome. Marathon has a lot of 5 and 9 chrome. We weld a little bit of 1 1/4. We've welded a lot of Hastelloy. What else? Just an array of metals that even people always ask, how do you learn them alloys? I said, I'd get on a job and they say, hey man, you know how to weld that? Oh yeah. Here I am 5 minutes later in a porta can, like Googling it, like, what is this? So I would never tell them I didn't know how to do it. I would go in there and mess it up so bad that I'd have to tell, like, man, I don't know.
Oh shit! I thought it was this Hastelloy. Oh damn! I thought this was stainless. I'm sorry. Hell, let me go.
Yeah, no doubt. And that was in my younger days. I learned from an older man. He told with alloys is when in doubt, drip out. You know what I mean? Just drip it all the way out. I mean, it's gonna tie in. It don't got a torque for the tie in. It might be ugly, but it's in there. You know what I mean? And always have a good purge. That's just the basics of it. Most alloys some of them are they'll kick your ass. Some of them, if you've never done them, you'll put cold wire. And oh god dang, look at that! You think you're putting the slickest route? You'll pull off looking there with that flashlight and say, "Oh damn, let's close this up before somebody sees this." Cold wires look like a porcupine inside that thing, and It's a pain to learn, but once you get it, you got it.
That's my buddy Travis Fields. Like he talks about welding like Hastelloys and Inconels. Like he's got it down to like he's a mad scientist with this shit. We were talking about titanium over there, and he's talking about, oh yeah, if you pull it out too far, that's when it forms an oxide layer on the end of the electrode or the end of the filler metal, and because it forms that oxide layer, like he goes like way deep into it, and like I'm trying to follow along with my dumb ass. I'm just nodding my head like, yeah, okay. Like, hopefully I don't get distracted because he's dropping some serious knowledge, and he's quick with it because he knows it so well. He's like a mad scientist with the shit. Yeah.
See, we just like, and he's probably in a shop somewhere, and he's in a controlled environment where
sometimes
they have to make it look a certain way. You know what I mean? Like, I've never welded titanium. I've messed with aluminum a little bit, but man, in the field, we got to make it shoot X-ray. You know what I'm saying? And like, we get what you're talking about on the end of your tungsten and your filler rods. And there's a lot to it, especially with alloys. But just do them over time, and you get a knack for it. But we don't do them enough to where we're like, I would call myself a master of any metal. Carbon steel. I can weld carbon steel.
That's like, I'm pretty good at steel, stainless, and aluminum. Once we start getting out of that, like I can kind of dabble a little bit in Inconel because we've done we had to teach some open root Inconel for a company down here in Florida. Like they would donate the material, and then we teach the students how to do it. But it was like a proprietary blend of Inconel that they use. Like I can't even mention the company because we signed an NDA, but they would drop off the material. They drop off the filler metal, and then they gave us a copy of the WPS and how to fixture this stuff up. And we would train our students to do it. I had no idea the exact composition of this material, but I know it was like a hybrid of Inconel. But it was weird trying to teach myself and learn how to do that process. It's very similar to like regular Inconel. It's just kind of like welding with mud or like nickel 99. It's just like a real thick. It doesn't want to like flow and wet in. It's
once where you put it is where it stays.
Yeah, it's difficult going from like steel, which is really forgiving, to jumping into something like that.
Yeah, Inconel. You'll be thinking you're going blind when you're welding Inconel. You're like, man, I don't know what it's doing. It just looks like a glob of nothing, and it's not moving. But I mean, you stop and you're like, oh, look at the amount of metal I just put in that thing. You don't feel like you're putting that much in there. But Inconel's a real dirty, dirty metal, and Oh, I hate welding Inconel.
So now when you go through the plant and stuff and they're like, hey, you gotta make a repair over here, you're doing new construction, do they give you like a welding procedure? Or do you have to just kind of rely off what you know and just say, hey, here's the, the pipe, fit it up, and make it shoot?
Yeah, it's pretty much the same thing. Unless you're on specific projects and they require a certain amount of caps, like some of the projects we're on, they require minimum 2B cap on everything. But the QC will come and let you know if there's a deviation from just normal welding like we do. Because technically by normal welding procedures, what we do, what I do, like I carry a lot of metal when I weld, and that's not by procedure or code, but it shoots X-ray, and it's like a gray area pretty much. And but if there is a certain way that the client wants it done, our QC will fill us in and we'll have a meeting about it and say, this is how we're going to do it. This is the filler metal. And this is just how it's going to be on these welds. But most of it's a normal process for us to weld pipe, bevel to bevel, put a root, flush, and cap it.
Okay. And then are you guys like, obviously, because I'm not a pipe welder by any stretch of the imagination, but when you go from one alloy to the other, are you putting a little bit more land on certain types of alloys or a little bit more gap because of the dissipation of the heat that goes through it?
Really, on alloys, you want to have a feather edge bevel because you don't want to risk having that landing and not burning it out. Because like you said before, alloys aren't forgiving, right? Mm-hmm. They're not like carbon. You're not gonna blow the wall out of stainless or Inconel or what have you. But no, I mean, we get a feather edge bevel, a good purge, and you roll with it. I mean, I drip my root on all alloys. That way I keyhole it. I watch the whole thing burn out. And I take a tighter gap. That way I don't have to put so much metal in my root. And I mean, because alloys close up so fast. So I'll start out with a loose 1/8 and put my bead in with 332 on all alloys. Now, carbon steel, I'll just roll with whatever gap they give me. It's so forgiving. But with alloys, I'm pretty specific about not having any land and the gap. It's going to close up fast, so you got to weld it fast. And you got to quarter it sometimes so it doesn't pull a certain way, because alloys pull real bad and be out of square. Oh, it's a pain. Alloys are just a pain, and they're slow process because you can't really burn stainless down too hard because it just don't take it like I think it should. So I kick it back a notch a lot on stainless for sure. Mm-hmm. The Inconel, I burn it hot as hell. It'll take it. Inconel just takes it. Monel, it'll take it. There's a few alloy like chrome. It'll take a lot of heat. It's chrome pretty well like welding carbon steel with a backing gas with a purge on it. Because a bead will sugar just like an alloy will if you don't have a purge on it.
And then do you have to do a lot of pre and post heating with like the blankets and all that stuff?
On chrome, yes, we do. And if it's a extra heavy wall pipe, they'll do a post weld heat stress on it. And sometimes if the client asks for it, if it's in the procedure, they'll do a preheat on really thick carbon steel pipe also. Like J bevel, be like 1 3/4 inch thick, 2 inches thick. They'll do a preheat on it while we're welding it to 350, 400 degrees. Same thing with chrome. All chrome gets preheated before welded. 9, 5, 1 1/4, all of it gets a preheat. That way it doesn't crack. Mm-hmm. But as far as just everyday welding on stainless and carbon, no, we don't do a preheat unless it's below a certain temperature outside. Below 50, we got to preheat it. And that's about as far as that goes. So.
Okay. That sounds like a lot of fun. Like, I mean, there's like a lot to learn going through that whole setup and like different alloys and all that.
Oh yeah. It's definitely a learning process, and you learn something new every day, especially when you're around so many different welders that have been doing it for so long. If you just sit back and listen to some of these old guys, I mean, some of them are full of it. Some of them, they'll teach you a few things.
They're all full of it, but I mean, there's a lot of them out there that they'll teach you something. Yeah.
And that's where you go back to your being cocky. They won't teach a lot of old timers. if you're real cocky and I'm the best, they'll sit back and watch you fail all day long and never stop you. They just sit back and say, look at this guy. Look at this guy. But if you are humbled and respectful, they'll teach you something. They might know something that you would have never thought to try, and they'll teach you. Mm-hmm. So it's always good to just stay humble with them.
And you got to get out there and get that information now, because they're like retiring in droves.
Yeah,
so
just rolling out.
I tell people, because I'll do like classroom talks and stuff, or, I'll talk to my students, or anytime I go somewhere, it's like, okay, you're getting ready to get out of class. You're getting ready to step into the field. Go in there, keep your mouth shut, keep your eyes open, keep your ears open. Mm-hmm. Make friends with that old crotchety dude in the back corner that don't talk to nobody. You bring him a coffee and a biscuit every morning. Make him your best friend till he retires, and he's going to make your life a whole hell of a lot easier, because he's going to dump about 50 years worth of mistakes into your brain, to where you're not struggling every single day when you walk in there. But like you said, you walk in there like, king shit on Turd Mountain, and you don't want to listen to nobody. They're going to sit back and they're going to watch you struggle, and they're going to look at their buddy and be like, hey, remember 20 years ago when we ran into that, and all we had to do was change our rod angle 5 degrees and it ran slicker and shit. They ain't gonna say nothing to that dude. They're gonna sit back and watch him bust out or struggle, because he can't be taught. He knows everything.
Yeah, and that's where your humbling experience comes in. And you're like, damn. But yeah, them old timers, man, they didn't make it to be old in this industry for no reason. That's just my way of looking at it. Mm-hmm. They didn't, and so a lot of them are mean, like grumpy old men. They just don't want to do it no more. And you just got to get past that with them, and befriend them, be nice with them, because they're grumpy. They got the right to be. They're old as hell.
Yep. Carry their tools.
And help them out. Yep. I've worked with some guys, man, 80 years old, and they're out there working, man, in the heat during the summer. And like, man, why are you doing this? He said, man, I need the insurance. My wife's sick. It's just, there's always somebody's going through something. Everybody's going through something. Mm-hmm. And that old bastard's grumpy for some reason. Now, like, you think he hates the world, but I mean, hell, he might be going through something. He just needs somebody to talk to,
Yep.
And then that's another thing with welding, man. It's what really piqued my interest when I was a helper, man. I went on a job, and we had rig welders. I was pulling leads, grinding beads, whatever them welders needed, And they pissed one of them welders off. I'll never forget it. There was about 10 of them. They were all from the islands, every one of them. And they pissed one of them guys off, and he'd say, hey, man, load it up. Man, and every one of them welders drove off that job and left. I said, oh, yeah, I need to be one of them. That's a brotherhood right there. Mm-hmm. And it's not like that anymore. And that's just from 2007 to now, because I started when I was 18. I was a helper. I was rolling. I loved it. And that's when I seen that. And, man, it ain't like that no more. You got so many guys so scared, and they don't want to deal with none of it. But that right there, I've never forget that my whole life. I've never seen that again. Everybody just rolled their machines up, and them Cummins was rolling out the gate. Up. Yeah, left.
I haven't seen that. I've seen one guy. I mean, like, I've seen him drag up, one at a time. But a lot of people are like, shit, if he drags up, that means they're either going to fill his spot or we're going to get overtime this Friday.
Yeah.
So it's a benefit if you drag up on some of these jobs for the rest of the crew.
Yeah. But it was a thing like, hey, man, we came here together. We're leaving together. We're rolling out no matter what. Like, and it just ain't like that no more. There's so many guys that are just so scared. Like, I don't want to lose my job. Nobody does. But I guess back then there was the old timers. They were tough. They didn't give a damn. They was supposed to go home and drink beer.
Mm-hmm. On to the next one.
Find another one. But the work was so much of it whenever I first started. I mean, you could, if you didn't have a job, it's because you didn't want one. And now you got people clawing and scratching just to get on a regular old, just a job. And it sucks because it's so flooded with hands that, I mean, I'm not saying they ain't worth a damn, but there's guys that are way better that are sitting at the house. You know what I'm saying? And because you're somebody's buddy or cousin or brother, you're in that spot instead of a guy that could be more beneficial to the job site. But that's just the way it's gone since I've started. You got to know somebody now. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's how I got with SWAT. I ain't going to lie. I knew somebody. I knew one of my buddies I went to high school with. He was a welder for SWAT. And he's like, hey, man, they need some welders. You coming? Yeah. And I rolled out and went over there. And best decision I've ever made on far as job-wise. Mm-hmm. And they've always been good to me. I've always went back. So I've left once, twice, and I'm like, man, I messed up. Hey, man. And I've made good connections being with them.
Yeah, so you know what they say, the grass is always greener on the other side. That's because the other side is full of cow shit.
Yeah. Yeah. I've left because of being promised certain things, and people will do that in this industry also. They'll say what they got to say to get what they need out of you until they don't need you. And I've learned that firsthand. Like, man, I ain't doing that again. Mm-hmm. And it just ain't worth it. You know what I mean? But they've always welcomed me back. Like, come on back, man. Don't drag up again. I ain't going to do it. I ain't going to do it again.
I ain't going to do it until the next time.
Yeah, till the next time.
So now how does somebody like, you know, I guess kind of break out into SWAT? Because like you were talking, it's a specialty welding group. So you can't just like roll out of your local VOTEC school, you know, just because you can pass a 6G pipe test and walk right into SWAT. I mean, do they have a specific testing procedure, like a certain amount of time that you've had to have experience in the field or anything like that?
Well, they pretty well how you would get into SWAT is somebody that knows you would have to go, like they'd be saying, hey, man, we need this many welders. Who do y'all know? All right, well, me knowing like, man, this guy's got out of school, this guy's got only 2 years experience. I mean, I wouldn't turn them in because they might get it put in a position where they're like, God, no. And I mean, it's really word of mouth to get in with SWAT is how it's always been since I've been with them. There's no hiring office. We hire in through our phones, our computers. So it's somebody has to turn your name in to get in with them. And you got to have somebody backing you pretty much. And the way it used to be when I first started with them, I've seen it firsthand. I ain't going to say no names because he might listen to the podcast. One of our superintendents, one of our superintendents, you would get hired in, right? And I'd say, hey, man, hire my buddy. Well, my buddy would come in, right? And he wouldn't be worth a damn. They say, you need to fire that guy. It was that easy. They fire him. Hey, who turned his name in? Oh, so-and-so. Get him and his box off my job, too. Damn. I mean, it's how it was. Like, they didn't want no lums, somebody that couldn't produce on the level that we're supposed to be at.
I mean, damn, that'd be a good thing too, because I would imagine that, you know, when you're out there, you know, especially if you're the superintendent, you don't just want your guys to, hey, you know, call my buddy up, you know, he needs a job. You know, if he can't make it, you know, you and whoever recommended you are gone. So, I mean, you're more apprehensive about who you're going to actually recommend to fill that slot, because if they don't pan out, you're gone too. So, I mean, you're literally putting your name out on them and sticking your neck out for them. Mm-hmm. So that's you're going to make damn sure they're going to perform.
Yeah, I've only turned in 1 or 2 names in the whole time I've been with SWAT. Like, people call me, hey, you a SWAT? Yeah. Hey, man, get me on. Yeah, 10-4. I ain't turning that dude in.
Buddy. Yeah, I got you on Monday.
Like, I know better. But I haven't seen them do that in a while. And I'm sure if they enforced that again or did that again, they would get back to being like top-notch only guys. But now you got cousins and brothers and sons and everybody rolling in. And we still got all the good guys. But people look at it like, man, I worked my whole career to get to where I'm making double time, making it to a job where I'm getting paid what I feel like I'm worth. And you got guys coming straight out of high school making it because their daddy's somebody or their uncle's somebody. And it's not just with SWAT, it's with any company, right? Mm-hmm. And they're coming in top pay and they're like, hey, that's your helper. And then it comes out that he's making journeyman money. You're like, what the hell? Like, no, I'm out. I'm dragging up if it's going to be like that.
Yeah, that chat.
And there's a lot of it's not right. You know what I mean? Like, I started from the bottom. I was a 3rd-class pipe fitter helper at 18 years old, and I've just moved up since. Young, didn't know nothing, but I'd work my ass off. I'd leave every day and pass out in my truck on the ride home with whoever I was riding with. Like, I gave it everything I had when I first started. But then I got to realizing, like, I can give half of what I got, and I'm still going to keep a job because these guys ain't doing nothing. You know what I mean? I'm still going to get laid off when the job's over. So I started conserving a little bit. And then that's when I started learning, when I slowed down, right? Because I broke out as a pipe fitter at 20 because I was hungry. I wanted to be a pipe fitter. And then I said, man, screw this pipe fitting. I want to learn how to weld. But welding's always piqued my interest because back in high school, senior year, we had to do a senior report. I don't know. Down here in Texas, we had to do that was our final grade as a senior. And I did mine on welding, never knowing that I didn't even know what plant welding was. I just knew welding interested me. Now here I am. What? I don't even know how to count that high. I've been out of school so 15 years.
You take your boots off, count the toes.
Yeah. 15 years later, and now that's what I'm doing for a living, you know? And it pays well. Feed my kids well off of it.
Mm-hmm. And I think you got to have a passion for it too, because like I tell everybody, you know, especially like day one of class or anything like that, or, you know, when I talk to a group of folks, I said, I'm going to be flat out honest with you. Welding sucks. And I get a lot of weird looks at me. They're like, what do you mean welding? So I was like, honestly, like everything you touch is sharp, hot, and heavy. You know, if you're out on a job site, you got a crane swinging around, it's dangerous. You're working with other people that you don't know what sort of mental state they're in. Their wife could have just left them, you know, drug up, took the kids and everything with them. I mean, yeah. It can be a dangerous situation. So you really have to be, if you want to make a career out of this, you got to have a passion for doing this type of work, because if you don't, you're going to wake up every single morning and you're going to hate life. So little Timmy, if you want to be a basket weaver, go weave the hell out of the baskets. And little Susie, you know, if you want to do, you know, whatever you want to do, go do that. Don't just get into welding for the money, because the last thing you want to do is wake up every morning and drive to a job that you hate and think about it that whole way there, and then hate it for 8 hours a day and then hate it on the ride home. You're going to be a miserable shit the rest of your life chasing that money. You got to love this stuff. Yeah. And, I mean, that's what I've come to find out about this trade is like, the more I learn, you know, the more I learn that I don't know anything about it. And that just, it's a constant strive to get better. Every single process, every alloy, every type of, you know, material, anything you can get into, new techniques and programs and all this stuff. There's so much to it, because you got to have a passion for it though.
You got to want it. That's what I tell them, guys. You got to want it. And another thing I tell them, I said, man, you think it's fun? Get the piss burned out of you one good time, and then let's see how much you love it then.
Oh, yeah.
And I look like a damn heroin addict under all my tattoos.
I was fixing to say, like, you run you some freaking T6 wire overhead, and you know
it hurts.
It doesn't drop weld spatter. No, it drops freaking weld boulders, and they're 5,000 degrees Fahrenheit, and they'll burn through the best jacket you've got out there. Or you know, if it doesn't burn through the jacket, it just sits there and festers. And you'll get to the point where you're not going to break that, because when it burns you, it's going to be the best weld you've ever put in. Everything's going to be going smooth and clean and slick, and you're putting in like, it's like, what the hell is it? Caddyshack. You're like, he's having the best golf game of his life, and he gets whacked by lightning. That's exactly what it's going to be. You're going to be putting in a slick-ass bead, and that stuff's just going to be falling down and just burning your flesh, and you can smell it burning, and you're not going to stop. You're not going to break that arc. You're going to finish that bead out.
And you have a second-degree burn and blisters.
Then you're a welder.
I'm about to tell you, playing with fire, you're going to get burned, dog. That's what I tell them. They say, oh, it's burning me. It's hot. I said, what do you think is going to happen? You're playing with fire, bro.
That's I tell people all the time. I didn't realize it was going to be this hot. And I'm like, you're literally playing with a 10,000-degree arc. Okay, you're melting steel with electricity. What part of, like, it's going to be hot did you not understand?
It's hot. There's no doubt about it. It's hot. Mm-hmm. Like right now, summer coming up is the worst time in the world to be a welder. But, I mean, what else am I going to go do? You know, sell ice cream pops? I mean, I've adapted and learned to just deal with the summertime. It sucks, but I'd rather be hot than cold. I'll tell you that much.
I don't know, man. I think I'd rather be cold than hot.
Man, I can't handle the cold. I just want to go to sleep when I get cold.
The thing is, like, here's my thought process behind it. Like, if it's cold, I can put on another layer. And if it gets colder, I can put on another layer. I can put some hot hands in my pockets and my pants. But if it starts getting hot and I take layers off, there's only so many layers I can take off before I get arrested.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, no doubt. No doubt. But man, I've lived my whole life in Texas. So I mean, lived in the heat my whole life. I mean, even during the wintertime, sometimes it's hot. And I've learned to just deal with it. But just when I get cold, it brings out the baby in me, especially when my feet get cold. I'm a 6'5".
I don't want to get out of the truck. There's no heat out there.
6'5", 300-pound baby. I just want to go home. I ain't getting out the truck today.
Fuck this. We going back home, man.
Yeah.
That's one of the coolest things. One of the old timers taught me, like we talk about the knowledge that the old timers dropped on us. We got out there and believe it or not, one year in Florida, it was cold. Like I had to buy freaking insulated Carhartts because it was so damn cold. It was like 20 degrees. It doesn't sound like cold to a lot of people, but like if you live down here in Florida for, 20 some odd years, your blood starts to thin out pretty quick. And 20 degrees, that's nothing to mess with. So, but I got to work, man. Like my hands were all froze up and everything. I didn't want to do nothing. I got snot dribbling out of my nose and everything. I got my beanie on. I'm just freezing ass cold. Old timer looks over at me and goes, "Hey man, there's heat in them tools."
Damn.
I was like, oh shit. Like it took me a minute for it to click. And he's like, if you get to work, it's not as cold if you start moving. I was okay. I got you now. I'm picking up what you're putting down.
Man, that's the line across the world.
Yeah. Cause you start toting tools up. Yeah. You start toting them tools upstairs. You're warm by the time you get to the top.
Yeah. And then you start sweating under all them clothes.
Now you're stripping stuff off.
Yeah, 20 degrees down here in Texas ain't no joke either. Right here, I live on the coast, so I mean it's cold here like it is there for y'all. The humidity just sucks for the cold. Like 20 degrees here is like I've been to New Mexico and dealt with their 30, 40 degrees, and it wasn't that bad. Like here, it's like my
they got the
God,
humidity over there. Humidity's a bitch.
Yeah.
I don't.
Man, it sucks. And but man. You talk about traveling a little bit, man. I've seen some pretty parts of the country traveling a little bit for welding. And New Mexico is by far my favorite place I've ever traveled to. It's beautiful. Mm-hmm. Beautiful New Mexico. But I've seen every part of Alabama, drove through Mississippi a few times. I'll tell you where else is real beautiful I've seen on my travels is daggum. I worked in Kentucky, but I was staying in West Virginia. That's where my motel was. And man, it is beautiful there. Mm-hmm. But you talk about some of the weirdest people I've ever been around in my life.
Tennessee or Kentucky? Because I'm going to Kentucky this weekend.
Now, Kentucky's not that bad. Kentucky was beautiful. Just beautiful trees and scenery all through. It's hills. Everything's hilly. It's real beautiful when I was there. And it rained a lot, actually, while I was there. I was right there in the corner of Ohio, Kentucky, and West Virginia. You could drive through all three states right there where I was at. I'm trying to think of the name. Daggum. I was working at a marathon there, and it's right on the state line. Like once you passed the plant, you were in West Virginia. And the plant was like under the highway. You like drove over a marathon there.
Damn.
But I liked it there. The weather was nice, unless it just like would drizzle for 3 days straight, and then it would brighten up and there'd be deer and just everywhere. Like, man, this is awesome.
It's beautiful country up that way.
Oh, it is. And the price of living is so cheap there.
But then again, there's not a lot of jobs. Like you got to travel to like do well.
Yeah.
I went up to my grandfather's got like family up in Hazard, Kentucky. We went through Hazard, Kentucky, and then what that was Bean Station, Tennessee. Like that whole area. He had a family reunion, so we got to hit up like kind of both areas. And it's beautiful up there. And he's a biker. So like we got to, I think I was like 12 or 13. I got to ride on the back of his bike and just kind of go through the mountains.
Oh, yeah.
And it was beautiful. Like you stop at the foot of a mountain and there's just like this cold breeze, just, and it's summertime, but it's like 70, 80 degrees outside, but you pull over to the side of the road, you got like this cool breeze just coming down the side of the mountain. And there's nothing like it. And the view, like to look down across everything. Oh, dude, it's freaking amazing. I can't wait to get back up there. I'm going up to the Kentucky Welding Institute competition this Saturday.
Okay, yeah, so I'll follow them on Instagram and TikTok.
Yeah, I'm driving up there. I'm leaving Thursday morning. I'm gonna get up there Thursday evening. They got like a reception Friday evening, and then the competition Saturday. So I'm gonna go up there, do some live podcasts. I got a big giveaway I'm doing. It should be a lot of fun. But I've always wanted to like get up there and see their facility anyway.
Yeah. I want to go see Western Welding. I actually been talking with them a little bit. I sent them our TIG rig last week. They wanted to check out what I've done. I sent them one of the rigs. But you want to talk about traveling a little bit. I'll tell you the worst travel I've ever done, and then we'll talk about something else. But I tell everybody, I drove through Colorado, and people think, oh, it's so beautiful, the mountains. Yeah, it's beautiful. But the wind, oh my God. And I drove a lifted truck at that time. And once you got to where you could see them mountains, it was like a whole nother atmosphere. I seen the wind would just whip so hard. Like I seen 18-wheelers just like fall on their side. Shit. I'm driving like, what the hell? And then you see campers come off the back of trucks. I said, man, I called the office. I said, I ain't going to make it to the way I was driving to Washington. I said, I ain't going to make it that job. I turned around and came home. Straight, I said, nah, I ain't going to make it. This ain't for me. Yeah. And that was in April. Damn. Like 4 years ago, they were sending me up to Washington.
All right, we're going to go ahead and take a quick commercial break. This segment of the Arc Junkies podcast is brought to you by Everlast Welders. Everlast Welders are built for hobbyist welders, professional welders, and the small business. Head on over to everlastwelders.com right now and check out their full line of stick, MIG, TIG, and multi-process welders, as well as plasma cutters, and see which machine is right for you. And be sure to use Arc Junkies in the comment section to check out to get that free Nova foot pedal and TIG torch when you buy any machine that comes with a stock foot pedal. Everlast Welders. Weld mean, weld green. We're also brought to you by Strong Hand Tools, my favorite fabrication and tooling company. I use my Strong Hand table, tooling, and fixture components for every project that I build. They help me increase productivity and accuracy while decreasing the time on the build. Have you had your eye on a new Build Pro table? Now's a great time to get one because Strong Hand Tools has a promotion for listeners of the Arc Junkies podcast. Right now, select tables and tools are 10% off with free shipping. Just visit stronghandtools.com/promos to check out this latest offer. Now let's get back into the show. That's my little brother's on Air Force Base up there. I think Colorado Springs, Colorado. We're supposed to do like a family road trip, and then I got to thinking about it and like the amount of animals that I have to take care of at my house, and the amount of time that I would be stuck in a small vehicle with a wife and 2 kids. I don't know if I want to do that to myself for 2 weeks.
No, just fly.
So I think that's what we're going to do. I think we'll fly out for a week. That's reasonable. And then fly back. And then some other time, we can do a cross-country trip. But yeah, I don't think my schedule will allow it. But was it Pikes Peak? I want to go check that out.
Yeah.
My stepdad, he used to fly up there all the time to right outside of Pikes Peak. And he'd bring back, pictures. He's like, oh, yeah, here's like this, antelope that I seen, or not an antelope, whatever the fuck, the elk, like all that shit. Like all their wildlife is like right there on the side of the road. It's holy shit.
Yeah, because all their animals are protected. Here in Texas, we see something like that.
Shoot it.
Screw that game warden. We couldn't shoot that big bastard.
Yeah, it's like South Park. He's coming right for us. Bang.
Yeah. Oh yeah. But yeah, like you said, there's a lot of this country that's beautiful, and working like I do, and a lot of other guys, we don't get to see a whole lot, and we miss a lot of time with our family. But me, like a lot of other guys, we probably grew up poor, and now we're chasing that dollar and trying to give our kids everything.
Yep.
And really, all they really want is our time, but now we got bills.
That's the trade-off.
So, yeah, and I seen a saying the other day. It says, what does it say? God, I can't remember how he said it. We don't pay it with this. We pay it with our time. We're paid for our time, not. I forget how it went, but it hit me, and I said, "Man, I need to remember that. That's a good one." Mm-hmm. And I'll probably remember it once we hang up.
I was thinking of one the other day. Like I was at work, and it's what is it? You sacrifice a young man will sacrifice his health for money, only to later in life sacrifice his money for health.
Yeah, that one hits hard too. Yeah, and I'm feeling it. I'm 33, and I'm like
I'm in my 30s. Like, why is my back hurt, man? My chest feels tight today.
Yeah, I'm like old 7'3" getting started in the morning.
You got to warm up them glow plugs first.
That's right. And I said, man, my back.
But you were talking about the Western Welding Academy. I want to say they've got a welding competition May 9th.
Yeah, next month, I believe.
I wanted to they invited me out to that one, but I was like, dude, I can't do Kentucky this weekend and then Gillette, that weekend, or that I think it's on a Monday. And then I'm doing the grand opening for Stephanie Hoffman with Underground Metalworks at her place like the 21st and 22nd of May. So I was like, yeah, I can't keep going back and forth. I only get so many vacation days a year. Yeah, no doubt. I want to start like around the Houston area. I try to go to every school I can. I want to start, me and my wife, I want to venture out further into the country and see other stuff. And I like doing demos for these students. Like I'll go to, like I went to Precision Welding Academy is the most recent one. And with Scott?
They set me up at, yeah,
dude, yeah. Scott's freaking awesome. He sent me a text message. I want to say, I think it was last night. He just got his VA approval.
Oh,
so
yeah?
I was like, dude, that's fucking awesome. Cause I know he's been pushing on that for the past couple of years.
Yeah. He's got an awesome facility.
Yeah.
Awesome. Anything you could think of, he's got it in there. And they welcomed me with open arms to come in there, and they set me up an 8-inch pipe, and I just showed their students how I personally weld stuff, not saying it was the right way. Mm-hmm. I said, but I showed them how I done it, and we talked, man. When I stayed there, I was there real late. And them students, they were just so eager, them guys there. And I try to go to every school that'll have me, and I'll reach out and say, hey, man, I'll come on by and talk to you students, this and that. And tell them, man, I'm not even trying to sell them anything. I just I'm passionate about teaching these younger guys the right way, pretty much. Not just teaching them how to pass a test and sending them down the road. So I love doing that. And my wife even noticed that. She says, you really like doing that, huh? She'll come and she's done photography for it a few times, or one time here at Texas Made Welding Academy here in South Houston. And she could just see how passionate I was about the teaching aspect of it. And, yeah, I really like doing that.
You got to link up with the Texas High School Welding Series.
But I think I've seen JK Welding was part of something like that.
Yeah, so I think JK goes out to a lot of them. Outlaw goes to a lot of them. I think Scott Robbie tries to hit up as many as he can. I want to say Austin Hargett. That's the cool thing about Houston, Texas. Everybody's like, oh, the welding headquarters is Miami, Florida. I'm going to get shit for saying this, but no, the welding headquarters is not Miami, Florida. It's Houston, Texas. Because, you guys got it on freaking lockdown out there. There's so many people involved with welding in that area. It's like the welding mecca. And I think it's really cool they got the Texas welding high schools, or the Texas High School Welding Series out there, because all the high schools are like, they're in on it. I try to hold a welding competition here in Orlando every year, and I invite all the schools that have anything to do with welding, and nobody shows up. Like, I'll get my students, maybe one or two stragglers from, a couple places, but I want to see your school come and, bring everybody, bring as many people as you can, and let's do this. And it's not a competition about whose school's better. It's like, how can we collectively bring all of these students, all these people getting into the welding industry, how can we bring them all up and be all involved? Not a competition because they're going to your school or these kids are going to my school. Get rid of all that shit. Yeah. Let's see what we can do with this community here in Florida, because Texas has got on lockdown. All these different schools are competing. I think every weekend they've got a new competition, and I've
tried to link up with JK. I've sent him a DM, but never heard anything back from him.
Get with I'll have to shoot you some information to Scott Witkowski. He's with Republic Testing Labs.
Okay,
he's
real tight with. I think they actually just started a school there. One of my buddies, Paul Theory, I met him with SWAT back in the day, and I talked with him, and they have a school starting up actually in their facility. And I think Eli and Heavy Hitters and his group of guys are heading that off. And I know a lot of the guys that are dealing with that, but man, I don't have no time really during the week. I go to work, come home, build TIG rigs. And that's the thing. A lot of people aren't understand. I don't know if they don't understand it as much as they don't know that every rig that gets sent out by Radical Ops is built by me and my wife. We're not a manufacturing company. They're like, hey man, I ordered a rig, yesterday. I haven't got a tracking number. I'm like, yeah, bro, I got to get to it and build it, and then you'll get a tracking number. Mm-hmm. I'm like, oh, I'm like, come on, I got to hurry up and build a bunch. And, but sometimes right now it's chaotic. I got 20 rigs right now that got to be built. Mm-hmm. But they'll get them. I'm not going to screw anybody over. Right. They'll get them.
Yeah, that was another thing I want to talk about, like your rigs, Radical Ops. I heard about you from Jeremy with Southern Weld Company. And then Austin had mentioned it as well. Like you're banging out some pretty badass TIG rigs.
That's what they say. I try to keep a mellow head about it, but I try to build the best I can with what's available to, the everyday market to build right now.
Mm-hmm.
And I've got a lot of stuff that I, envision, but it's just finding the time and the money to try it and see if it's going to work. Because a lot of building, if you're trying to do innovative stuff, it's a lot of money and trial and error. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, there's R&D and all that stuff you got to go through, and like coming up with a design. Then you got to check for patent infringements, and then you got to figure out how am I gonna take something that I know can be better and make it better.
Yeah, and man, I got a box of junk out in my garage. Like, that's a failed project. That ain't gonna work. And hoses, and just like I'm trying to build stuff that's gonna last as long as possible. And that's another thing I try to tell these younger guys is, man, if every rig that we built was indestructible, they wouldn't sell replacement parts.
Mm-hmm.
So, I try to explain to them, like, they're going to break. Every rig, I don't care what brand it is, that's going to break. You're going to have an issue somewhere eventually on every rig. We beat the hell out of them all day long, you know what I'm saying? And a lot of guys don't want to hear that. They want to hear, do you warranty this? Like, sure. I don't want you making a bad post about me. So, I'll warranty you dropping a grinder on your rig, and now I'm going to replace it.
Damn. You're a bigger man than I am. I'd be like, no, that's operator error right there.
But I try to have like the best customer service possible. And that's where I try to set standards, is treating everybody how I would like to be treated if I called their business. And I try not to say, man, you're full of it, dude. I know you burnt that. You set it on a weld. It's burnt. I can clearly see that it's burnt. And that's another thing. Another thing with these rigs, as far as welding with a TIG rig, right? If you don't have a good ground, that rig's going to get hot. I don't give a damn what company built it for you, where you got it. If you don't have a good ground, good connections, it's going to get hot.
Yeah.
I might lose some sales over that, but that's just the nature of it.
It's funny you mentioned that, because I did an episode for Just the Tip Tuesday a while back called Resistance is Futile. And that's the biggest thing, is if you got heat in your ground clamp, like with most processes, because that's going to be your negative lead. If you got heat in that, you've got resistance built up. So you're losing amperage somewhere. It's not going into the part, it's going into your workpiece clamp. But like with DC negative, like a TIG welding process, if you got resistance somewhere, boom, it's going to pop up in that torch.
You're going to find it right there at your torch, in your rig.
Yeah, you've got to have a good connection.
I stress that because, I'm going to have rigs come back, right? Everybody is. They're going to say, man, this one got hot. And I know deep down, I know for a fact it's got to do with the ground. It could be something I've done. That's why I warranty them, right? But, man, I know I've had 4 of them come back out of 250, 300 hybrids that I build. I've had 4 of them that were like, hey, man, this one got hot. I'm like, man, let me see it. They bring it to me. I said, nah, you cooked the hell out of this. Like, ain't no way.
Mm-hmm.
Ain't no way. But I try to explain to these guys, but like I said, they don't want to hear that. They want to hear that their rig's indestructible. That's what, and I'll never tell nobody that, it's indestructible, because then I'll just be kicking myself in the ass, you know? Like, so, like I said, it don't matter what brand it is. If you don't have the right stuff to do what you got to do, you're going to burn it up.
Mm-hmm.
And that's, I've went through so many head manufacturers because I just trying to find that one that fit my product the way I wanted it to fit. And I started out with other companies. I started out with Weld Tech. I couldn't get a contract with them. They're very proud of their product. I moved into Amplified Welding. I used his heads for a while. And then he decided he wanted to build his own TIG rig. So I backed off from him, let him do his thing. And I went to CK. And CK's got a good product. Now, nothing bad about them to say besides they're so soft. Their heads are so soft and flexible. People were complaining about that. So I did a little more. And I got to thinking, man, since I've started welding, Profax has always been there. You know what I mean? And they're here in Texas. So I got a hold of them, and now I'm with Profax. and they're great. People love them. But I'll get people if somebody wants a specific head. I've got suppliers. I can get what needs to happen. But as far as a mass producing, I go with Profex now.
Okay. So I mean, like if somebody wanted, you could Frankenstein a torch for them.
Yeah, I could put whatever head they wanted. Hey, I mean, yeah, it would cost a little more because I'm not buying in bulk of that head.
You got to buy a single item.
Yeah, a single item, and I'm not going to get my price. I'm going to pay retail. So that would reflect in the price of the rig, but that's no problem. People just have their set ways. Like a lot of people love Weld Tech, and they're a jam up product. Their heads are great. I got nothing bad to say about a Weld Tech besides how much they cost. They're just outrageous. And I'll put my Profex up against any head. You know what I mean? And I love them. I weld with them. They don't get hot to me. I've never popped one, so I've turkey necked one, but I've never just had one just pop off.
I'll have you come down to my shop one day. You can let my students weld with them. I brought in. I got a number 9 for a gas cooled system, and I told one of my students he was in there doing TIG weld, and I was like, all right, you're doing all right. I was like, I'll bring in a flex head for you tomorrow, number 9 flex head, and he's like, okay. So I bring it in. I said, whatever you do, don't run it over 150 amps. It's not rated for anything over 150 amps. It's a small torch. Yeah. And what you're doing, he didn't need to be above 150 amps. So he comes back. He's like, hey, man, there's something wrong with your torch. And I was like, what's wrong with the torch? It was like practically, it was good when I gave it to you. And he's like, I don't know, like the head's moving around. And I don't know. Dude, I come over there and like the whole side is like, it's popped up. I mean, it's done. Like there's
he
nothing.
Broke the copper inside.
And I'm like, exactly. He burnt the copper burnt the copper and then burnt the rubber also. So I was like, what the fuck? And I'm like, how did this happen? He's like, I don't know. I was just welding along and it just quit working. And I'm like, like, this never happened to me before. And I look over at his machine. He's at like 190 amps. And I'm like, I told you not to go above 150. What part of that did you not understand? So
no doubt. They're rated at 125.
Yeah, I learned on the 9. I learned to quit bringing shit in for the students to use.
Yeah. And that's not like I've had guys buy 150s from me and they're like, man, dude, I burned this thing at 300 amps and I love it. I'm like, yeah, I'm not warranting that.
No.
Like I built a rig for that. It's heavy. Of course it's heavy, but it's heavy
300
duty
freaking
too.
Amps.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like the 150, you like it, yeah, burn it up, buy another one. But I can't warranty it if you burn into 300 amps. You done told me that.
Yeah.
And like I've got some guys that I sponsor. Like I'm sure you've seen Lucky Welds on Instagram. Mm-hmm. He's a real good. He's actually out in Florida working right now at some space place, doing a lot of stainless for him.
I got a pretty good idea where he's at.
Yeah, and he reps for me hard. So I put him on 100%. I send him whatever he needs. I'm actually behind on sending him a rig right now that he needs for some heavy wall. And I got like Dr. Welds Austin. He's another guy that I give free stuff to, and he promotes me real well. He's a good dude. I've welded with him. We did a little demo together, and we made a TikTok video. It was he walks the cup and I freehand, and we had 2 worlds colliding on one weld is pretty much what we come up with. And man, it was a good time welding with him. And he's good. He's a good welder, and
he's a good dude too.
Yeah, he's a real good dude. He's knowledgeable, especially about the schools and stuff like that. He's real smart about it, and he's real good friends with Scott.
Yep, that's how I met Austin, was through Scott.
Yeah, and me and Austin had a good time making that video. We got a whole lot of content, but we just broke it to one video, and I've got so much stuff on my phone from that night that we've done that. And we had a good time. But like I said, we got a few views on it, and two worlds colliding. And man, he said, "Man, you ain't got no feeling in your fingertips." I said, "Man, I've been freehanding everything forever. Like it doesn't bother me no more. Like I have calluses on my fingers. I don't feel it anymore." Mm-hmm. And that's just how I'm comfortable. Walking the cup, I'm not real good at it. So right. I just rolled with freehand. And they're like, "Man, you need to learn how to do both." I said, "Why?" I've never been on a weld where I had to walk the cup. I've been on welds where I had to freehand it.
Yeah, because you can't put scratches in there with the cup.
Yeah, that you can't go in a heater and walk the cup, or get in a boiler and walk the cup. It's impossible. It's not going to happen. So I mean, guys want to walk the cup because it's pretty. Yes, it's very pretty. And I don't care about pretty. Not anymore. We worry about getting it done. Let's get it done. Let's get to the next one. And that's just the process that I've rolled with forever now. And I mean, when I learned how to weld, I walked the cup. That's what I learned, was walking the cup. I never got real slick with it. I mean, I made it on jobs, but that's about as far as it went.
That's about as far as you need to get with it.
Yeah, like hubcap welds. He's slick with it.
Yeah, he does a two-stringer banger.
Yeah, two-stringer banger. We're probably gonna get some heat for even bringing that name up at this point in the game, but
what I've heard lately.
Yeah, and well, that's as far as we need to go with that one.
We can leave that right there.
Let's leave that right there, because I mean, I considered him a friend, but I mean, it's hard for me to promote that side of what's going on right now with what I'm trying to do, because that's why I feel that's why people are so. Hey man, where's my rig? Hey man, I ordered it 2 days ago. Where's my rig?
Yeah.
I think that's got a lot to do with people's anxiety about buying through, a small company like what I have, or any little small company like, hey man, I'm about to get screwed.
But I mean, that's like the biggest thing is like, when you've got people, you've got a small business owner that also has a full-time gig somewhere else, so I mean, like your number one commitment is that full-time job that's bringing in the income to support you, your wife, your kids, your house, your mortgage, your vehicle payments, like all the stuff that we do. And then, we get a little bit of off time here and there. And it's like, hey, I could run this on the side. I could set this up as like a little side business to help sustain or provide better or do more things for my family. Like you said, we grew up poor. Like I'll throw myself in that boat. I wasn't poor. My parents were poor. They just drug my ass along with them. But, like I didn't grow up with money, so like now that I have access to adult money, like I like having that and providing my kids with stuff that I didn't have. Like I told my wife, last year for Christmas, I was like, she was done with the Christmas shopping and she's like, but we didn't get, this, and this. And I was like, don't worry about it. Done. And I got on Amazon and I was like, boom, 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 boom. And she's like, no, you can't do that. And I was like, this year I can. This is the first time that I can provide for my wife, my kids, my family, and I can spoil the shit out of them. So this is a good feeling. This is my time to shine. And it's like, I don't care if somebody calls them a spoiled little brat, whatever. This is my time to spoil the shit out of my kids because I've never been able to do that. So
yeah,
that's kind of what people have to understand is you've got your full-time commitments, you got your side gig. Yes, I'm going to get your product shipped out to you. I'm going to do my damnedest to get it out, and I'm not going to be an asshole about the wait, but I mean, seriously, nobody is Amazon Prime, so if you're going to buy from a small business company, like I just bought some shit off Etsy from a lady and it was like a 2-week lead time. And I got that because like it's built to order, so if somebody builds if somebody orders a torch from you or a TIG rig, maybe there's a 2-week lead time. I'm not going to start hitting you up 2 days later and be like, hey man, where's my shit? I can, order something off Amazon and it's on my doorstep the next morning. It's like, look at how big Amazon is.
Custom.
Yeah. Look at how big Amazon is. They got the shit in stock and they've got 9,000 people to deliver it worldwide. I didn't realize they had they have their own fleet of airplanes. I didn't realize that, but yeah, like your small business owners. And that's why I prefer to do business with small business owners. Yes, I have to wait a little bit longer. However, it's going to be a better product and it's going to be the product that I want. And it's going to be something that's going to last versus, okay, I can buy it. It'll be here tomorrow. And then 6-7 months from now, I'm going to have to buy another one. But it'll be here tomorrow where I can just buy it once and, cry once over the price. But it's going to last me for X amount of years.
Yeah, no doubt. And that's the thing with my rig. Whenever I was doing just 2 colors, I could have 15 rigs put together and shipped out the next day. Now we've moved into, I had this bright idea of, let's do every color we can find. And now I'm up to like 9 different colors. And I'm like, I can't build them till they're ordered now. Like
I need a black and lime green one.
I got that all day long. That was actually one of my first colors that we decided to do.
That's a sick ass color, man.
Uh-huh. Yeah, like I'm constantly ordering and searching for new colors. We come out with teal. People love that teal right now.
Well, it's
and
Easter.
A white. Yeah, that teal is so pretty. It's so pretty. And that was my wife's idea. And the white, I said, well, I talked to the guys with Knox FR, and I was, flipping through their website. I said, check out this white and black shirt. It says it's the drag up shirt. I said, I have a rig to go with it. Boom, ordered some white and black and white rig. Yeah, that's the drag up.
There you go. You ain't getting it dirty that day.
Yeah. But it's just, and my wife does everything she can to help me, but I'm so particular about how every rig is built. I put my hands on every single one of them. I'm so particular that she's just like, you do it. I'll work on the logistics. You build them. Yep. Okay, I got this.
Nobody can do it right but me. I've been there. I've been there.
And I'm just so picky because I don't want anything to come back. Like I'm putting my stamp on that, on everything that I build. And she understands that. She's like, okay, I'll help you with stuff that doesn't have to be crimped together or pinched off or grinded down, because I have to modify all the fittings that I buy, to fit how I want them to be. And like I'll buy a mass box of fittings. I'll be out in the garage. She said, what are you doing? I got to fix them.
I got to make this fit. I can make this custom with a K.
Yeah. And I mean, like I said, it's a trial and error thing. When you want to start a business and sell a product, be ready to spend some money to figure it out, because my wife's like, you broke another one? Yeah. We got to buy another one. Or that hose, I don't like that hose. That hose sucks. Trash it. Order another one. Like, damn, same thing. Trash it. I'm like, well, don't throw it away. We'll put it in the junk pile over here until I got to where I liked what I was producing.
Well, I mean, you at the end of the day, you got to be happy with the product that you're putting out, because you're putting your name on it.
Yeah, and that's the thing with a lot of these companies that come out with all these rigs or whatever they come. I actually go to work every day and use the product that I build for everybody that I'm sending them to. And I don't want to sound cocky or stupid or an asshole. I'm the only owner of a rig company that still welds for a living by choice. You know what I mean? Like, I still wake up and go weld with the product that I'm pushing to these people. So I'm putting my stamp on it that I weld with it and I trust it. You know what I mean? And all the guys that do have rig companies, not throwing shade on, they were welders at one time, but I'm still producing and using the product that I make. And I think that goes a long way with people trusting what I build them. I hope it does. And it makes for good TikToks. And man, social media is the hub of all businesses now. I've had figured that out over the last year.
I mean, look at how much companies spend on marketing. Look at marketing budgets for like big name companies. You can do the same thing with Instagram, TikTok, and don't get me wrong, Facebook. I mean, with those three platforms right there, and even a little bit of LinkedIn, I mean, you can market yourself for free. And that's what I tell everybody. Like your Instagram, like if you're an up and comer in the welding industry, you want to get in there, you want to break out and everything like that, document your progress, take pictures of the stuff you're doing, highlight, some of the things that you're putting out there, be professional with it. But I mean, that is a living portfolio of your work.
Yeah,
and
no doubt.
And it's ever changing. And people could see that constant state of progression that you're going through and say, okay, this is where they started. They stuck with it. Oh shit, this profile is like 3 years old. This person's been in the game for a little bit. And like people could see kind of where you come from. It's a live portfolio.
And you're exactly right. And you got to have, I've realized that, yes, you have to post your product, but people still want to be able to relate to what you're posting also. So I've noticed, I'll post a rig here and there, but I post a lot of me welding or guys that use my rig welding with it, or out in the field in just a bind, and or video, just stuff that people, like kids that are learning, they're like, they've never seen the inside of what we do, but they know they want to do it. They hit on that stuff so hard. They love it. And then I'll hit them with a bam, check out this rig. I'm trending right now. Bam, look at this rig. Yeah. But I try to stay relatable with everything that I post and try to stay not too vulgar and things like that, professional about it. And that is my biggest growth in the year that I've been doing this, is my vulgarity and my business talk towards people. And they don't want to hear you come in there and F this, F that, mother, you can't be talking like that if you're trying to promote a business.
Yeah.
But I've seen that growth in myself just over some of the first videos I posted to what I do now. And I get 100,000 views versus 500. You know what I'm saying? It's just I'm more relatable, I guess. And I've learned what people want to see, and I try to give them that. And then it just goes hand in hand with producing a product. They see you using it. Hey, and I always have my link on there. Boom. Yeah. Oh, look at that.
What kind of torch are you using over there?
What you got?
Yeah.
Yeah, check this out, bro.
Product placement.
Yeah. Yeah, and then I learned you can start like tagging your product in your pictures and stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they get a whole shop on Instagram now. It's like I started thinking about that. I was like, damn, I need to get into selling some shit. That'd be like a third side hustle. I need to get in on that.
Yeah, it's so stressful though. People are so stressful.
Oh yeah, that's what I don't want to deal with, is like the shipping, the ordering, the warranty work, replacements. Like I don't have time for all that with my full-time gig and then running the podcast and taking care of the family. Like I can't add one more thing to this. Like I'm starting to designate shit to my kids. Like, hey, you take the trash out, make sure the lawn gets mowed on Sunday.
And see, I lucked out. My wife loves riding on that zero turn, so all I got to do is weed eat sometimes.
There you go. Hook her up with a sweet tea, send her out there and be like, get it, honey.
She just be out there listening to her podcast on her earphone. Ooh,
tell her to download Arc Junkies Podcast.
She will, especially now. I've been on it. I'm going to listen to what you talking about.
Yeah. I want to hear all that smack you're talking.
Yeah. Now she really gets into what goes on, and she's so interested in it. It intrigues her a lot, because I've been with her since we were 16 years old. She's never seen me weld until the first time she come to me doing a demo for a school. She said, "My God," she said, "That's what it looks like." I said, "Just that simple. That's all it is." But it just amazed her that I'm holding fire in my hand and melting stuff together. And my little boy's like, "I want to be a welder now." I said, "Let's get you out of elementary school first."
You got to humble your wife though, because you tell her, "Yeah, that's all there is to it. Like, go give it a shot, babe."
Yeah, try it out, baby.
Try it out,
man. And she'd probably be real good at it because she's so artistic. She's the one that every logo and every post that's not me welding or somebody else welding, she creates those. I bought her an iPad and boom, she knows how to do it all. Mm-hmm. Like me, I don't even know how to print a shipping label.
Control P.
Hey baby, I need these shipping labels, and what's next?
Yeah.
Hold on.
Take care of the logistics. But I mean, I think that helps too, is like having a spouse that, supports what you're doing, is willing to, like help out and do things. That's like, I mean, the biggest thing that I have to do that like my wife and kids actually help out with is like anytime I do an event, I'll put out sticker packs, or, I'll put up a bunch of sticker packs, or like pre-assemble a bunch of envelopes to send stuff out, so that way if I tell somebody, hey, I'm going to send you some sticker packs, I can put it all in there. They'll help me out with that, so like before an event, I'll clear off the dining room table and they come out of the woodwork and we're stuffing sticker packs and ziplocking them together and everything like that. But like other than that, they really can't help out unless I get my son into audio engineering or something like that.
Yeah, that's like my daughter. She wants to help. She's out there cutting hoses and helping me roll stuff up. Because I mean, I have a table out in the garage. I cut everything. Boom, 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 boom. Roll it all up and try to keep organized in here. But every time I come in here and build rigs, it looks like a hurricane. Mm-hmm. So every time the next day I come, I got to clean everything up, try to find all my tools.
Organized
chaos. I'll be in here till 9:30, 10:30, 11 o'clock building rigs, and then I go to bed and wake up, do it again the next day. Mm-hmm. But I mean, I love producing the product for people, so it just keeps me going. Some days I'm just like, man, screw them rigs, I'm going to bed.
Take a nap.
Yeah, and then I'm like, man, they're gonna be messaging me wanting to know where their rigs at.
Lay down for like 5 minutes, you're like, shit, I gotta adult some more. I'm
not done.
Yeah.
But man, I love it. I love producing. What I don't like is the the argument between what rig does this and what rig does, it's all preference, man. I mean, that's what I tell these guys. They're like, what's the difference between your rig and this rig? Like, it's blue. I mean, what do you want me to tell you? Like, I'm not going to down them. I learned that early on. Don't put this product down to promote your product, because when your product messes up like that one is, there's their ammo. You know what I mean? Just and people are like, yeah, I prefer this for that's good, bro. I mean, that's your choice. It's your money.
Everybody's got their own preference on everything.
Like, sometimes I feel like people want to see me like talk smack about other companies. I'm like, man, I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to post that on social media. I'm not doing that. Mm-hmm. Like, what's the difference? I don't know. You buy it and find out. I mean, I don't know what to tell you, bro. Like, I'm not going to be that guy. I'm not going to step on their back to sell a rig.
Yeah.
That's just, I learned, just don't do that. It's not worth it. It just causes so much animosity. And like I told you, I got a lot of love for Eli, because he done a lot for me. And I did make one post way back when, and I should have never done what I done at that time, talking down on his product, because he did so much for my family at one time when my little boy was sick. And I love him from the bottom of my heart for everything he done for us. But maybe we'll get back to that, to being the friends and things like that. But as of right now, I don't know. I guess I haven't got the balls up to call him. You know what I mean? Like, I just have this feeling that there would be an argument, and I just want to avoid all that, because our group of friends, we're all friends with everybody. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. He knows everybody that I know, and I could see where he's coming from, where it felt like a kick in the nuts for me to start what I started. Because, I mean, it's the exact same company. I mean, break it down, it's the exact same company. But, you know, we'll make it right one day. I mean, there's I don't hate nobody. There's nobody to hate. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Just business is business.
Yeah. And I think there's enough people out there that, you know, product, service, you know, commitment, warranty. I mean, there's a lot of different ways you can compete with the same product. And I mean, at the end of the day, everybody's just kind of reinventing the wheel.
That's it. How many bread companies are there?
Yeah.
You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
Marita's not the only one. I hate to tell you that. I mean, I'm a Pepperidge Farm man myself.
Everybody's got their preference.
Yeah, for the longest time, I was a Wonder Bread man until I could afford the Pepperidge Farms. But
I'm a
little bougie with my white bread.
Yeah, no doubt.
But yeah, I think there's enough room at the table for everybody to eat, you know?
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, it all just comes down to preference. I mean, you want this color or that color? You know what I'm saying? And they're all going to break. Every one of them, something's going to happen to every one of them rigs within time. Now, your time frame, that's a big factor, is how long until that something happens. And then somebody's pissed off, like, hey, I bought this 9 months ago. Like, yeah, you got 9 good months out of it. You know what I mean? Like, that's good.
Yeah. It's not bad for you to do something every day, 40 hours a week.
Yeah. When I first started welding, you'd be lucky to get a month out of a rig. A big old one-piece water hose rig, and it, pow, damn. But, you know what I'm saying? It is what it is. It's going to be all good. Mm-hmm. And just got to keep on pushing.
Yeah.
It's a lot of work. To any young guy that wants to come up and start a business, it's a lot of work. A lot of commitment.
Especially while you got a full-time load and a family on top of that.
Yes, no doubt.
That's the biggest thing that a lot of people don't realize. They're like, you know, I want to be an entrepreneur. Okay, what are you going to do to support that dream? Well, I'm going to be an entrepreneur. Okay, that's great, but how are you going to support that dream? Like, how are you going to do the R&D? How are you going to, like, take the time to buy the materials to go through the process and select the components that you're going to build, you know, out of all this stuff?
It's
there's a lot trial and error. I mean, I've several times I thought about sitting down and like redesigning and rebuilding something and putting something together. It's like, I don't have the freaking time to do it.
No, I mean, it's hard to find time.
Else.
Yeah. It's hard to find the time to do pretty much anything. Mm-hmm. Whenever you have a full-time job, your wife and kids, and like, it's just a lot, but we learn to adapt and get with it.
Yeah.
And I try to involve my wife in all of it. Like, hey, get in here, come see how I do this.
Improvise, adapt, and overcome.
Yeah, that's exactly right. But I love it though. I love what we're doing. And hopefully one day I can make it a full-time job. Just not right now.
Yeah, that's the goal.
That is the scariest part. Is like, when do you just launch it to take that leap? And I'm just like, nah, I need that for sure income. You know, like people are like, you're greedy. I'm like, no, I'm scared.
Yeah. No, I got to provide for other people. It's not just me in this boat.
If it was just me, I'd eat ramen noodles and Vienna sausages and be fine. But oh, these kids like macaroni and beef tips and
Pepperidge Farm Wonder or Pepperidge Farm White Bread.
Yeah, Pepperidge Farm sandwiches and deli slice meat.
Right. They get expensive.
Yeah. I love what I do because of the people I get to meet and talk to. Like, it's an honor to come do things like this and go to the schools. But man, I want to start meeting some of these people in person and getting to some of these, youth competitions.
You got to come out to Fab Tech, man. That'd be a good one. Atlanta's going to be wide open this year, so I mean, I'm planning on going. And I know it's in November, so the weather it'll be a little bit cooler. But yeah, man, if you come out there, let's link up.
Yeah, I'll definitely got to talk it over with the wife.
Oh yeah, talk to the boss lady.
Yeah, but yeah, she was real interested in going this past time, and then like I said, we just decided it wasn't a good time for us to go, and like I was like, man, I'm not paying all that money for a motel. I got to wear a mask. I was going to stay like at Fab Tech at the motel that they had. It was like right next door, like you went across a walkway or something, but it was expensive.
It's a little bit pricey, and the closer you get to the date, like the more the pricey it gets.
But yeah, I foresee us making an appearance at Fab Tech this year.
Okay.
But yeah, we'll definitely link up whenever we. I'll get some dates punched in and time request off turned in and be ready to rock and roll. And it should be a good time this year, hopefully. Yeah. I've never been to Atlanta.
Yeah, it's not bad. I mean, it's a pretty good show. I mean, Chicago's bigger. I like kind of the smaller show because it's easier to get around and see everything. But I mean, like, I haven't been to a Fab Tech that I didn't like yet. I mean, it's like, honestly, for me, it's like a big family reunion. Like I get to see all the people that I talk to via text and email and phone call throughout the year. That's the 1 week that I get to see them all in person, even though it's for like 5 minutes here, 10 minutes there. We all get to see each other.
Always on the move, huh?
Hell yeah.
Got to see it all.
Yep.
Yeah, we're going to come check it out. I mean, like I said, we were so gung-ho this past year. I was going to link up with Jeremy from SoCo Welding, and he ended up backing out, and so did we. And he's like, yeah, well, I'll just catch you in Atlanta. Mm-hmm. I actually have one of his rigs sitting right here on my table. He's got one of my the first rigs I ever built. And I said, hey, send that thing back to me, and let me get you updated on the fittings. Because I've switched to a better fitting since he bought his rig, and it came in yesterday. I haven't even let him know it came in yet. But yeah, he's been a supporter since day one. And he's like, man, when can I get my own rig? I'm like, what do you mean your own rig? He's like, a SoCo welding rig, like on your website. I'm like, hell, we can try. I mean, your color's green and black. I already have that one, but see what we can do. And it's just, man, it'll go days. I'm like, oh, damn, he messaged me. I'm so far in everything else, I forget to message people back. I'll go days. I'm like, oh, damn. Yeah. I'm supposed to message that. So I got emails. But I'll get back with him eventually. Well, he's a good dude. Yeah.
Good. Before we get out of here, why don't you go ahead and plug your socials, tell people where they can find you, where they can pick up your rig, where they can check it out at.
Well, you can visit our website. Is www.radicalops.com. You can get on there. Instagram, it'd be at RadicalOps. TikTok, same handle as at RadicalOps. We post some funny stuff on there. And if you want a custom color, DM me on Instagram and I'll create you an invoice and get it sent over, and we'll go from there with that. Custom color, whatever heads you want, I can get them. That's about as far as really selling rigs goes, and we're coming out with hoods. I actually just got a shipment in the garage that I have to start prepping and cutting up, and then I'll have them on the website.
Okay.
And they're supposed to, I mean, a lot of people are hitting me up for them. They're loving what we're doing with them. They're real small and compact hoods. And I'm not going to go custom with them at first. They're all going to be the same, but they're that hood. You can paint them when you get them. Mm-hmm. But, yeah, y'all be on the lookout for the hoods. And if y'all have any questions, I will respond to anybody on Instagram. You send me a DM, I will respond to you. I'm not one of them guys or business owners that won't talk. I will talk to anybody that has any question about anything, not just rigs, welding wise, anything. So just hit me up, holler at me.
Well, awesome, man. Tim, it's been a pleasure having you on the podcast. I appreciate you taking your time out of your day to come and chat with us, share your history, and tell us a little bit more about your products.
Oh, man, I'm honored. I loved it. Thank you very much for having me.
Oh, anytime, man. I look forward to seeing you at FabTech.
Yes, sir.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, thanks once again for tuning into the podcast. I hope you all enjoyed this week's episode. Don't forget to check out the ARC Junkies website, arcjunkies.com, to stream all past and present episodes and pick up show merchandise. Hope you all have a great rest of your week. Stay safe out there, and until next time, make every weld better than your last.